Howdy friends, we're down here at Fort Lawton Post Cemetery. It's Michael Oxman. We're doing a walkthrough here. We've got, I don't know, maybe 10-acre site, something like that. It's got a large perimeter of native trees, and those native trees are real mature Douglas firs. Let's see if I can zoom out here for a second so you can see. These trees are over 100 feet tall, and the area is surrounded by a chain link fence, and we haven't gotten any feedback from the city about where the projects of maintenance in this unmanaged forest are. We would like to deal with them so that we can influence them to clean up their act, since really no maintenance has ever been done in this forest outside of this fence. So there has been maintenance done inside the fence, and the cemetery is very tidy right now. The maintenance crews come in here regularly, and once a week I believe it is, and they are enabled by a repaving project that was done a few years ago. Right about the time the Army handed it off to the Veterans Administration, this concrete curb that's around the center of this cemetery was all replaced, and so it's in really good shape. There isn't paving issues, there's not trip hazards. The turf is largely intact. It is high above the surface of the grade, so you do have to step up onto turf. These trees are big leaf maples that we're looking at right now. The typical condition of a big leaf maple that's 100 years old in this neighborhood is would have dead tops, and these do not. So that's a good sign. The fact that the tops are green means that the paving project did not significantly reduce the metabolism of the trees. So that's fantastic. And as we spin around, we see that there's these legacy stone posts and retaining walls. A lot of it is made of river rock, and many of the trees that were planted here initially are still here. In fact, I'm going to just switch us over to this this aerial photo that was taken in 1936. So that makes these trees maybe 90 years old or so. This is really helping us a lot. This photo shows that these are the original trees that were planted here, and they're pretty mature in this photo. They are mostly still here, so that's fantastic. There's been very little change here. So we're now outside the chain link fence, and from the Army days, there has been work in the park area. Right across the street from the cemetery entrance is this tunnel that walks you underneath the main road coming in, and we're just going to walk under here so you can see the massive infrastructure that the Army had in place. Here's some 20-foot high retaining walls, and into this little pedestrian tunnel you can see there's large dead snags laying down kind of overneath the pedestrian trail, which is kind of a sign of the Parks Department's priority. Very low here, but as we walk underneath, you can see the condition of the grounds around the cemetery. We're not in the cemetery now. Amazingly massive installation of concrete right there to accomplish that tunnel, and I guess about 10 years ago the Army gave up most of this site here, and now even the city is selling home sites to pay for its infrastructure improvement management efforts. So as we continue our walking tour, we're approaching the gate. There's only one way in and one way out of the cemetery. It's through this gate. The sign is not Particularly fantastic. There's no announcement outside the park that you're going to encounter the cemetery. Chances are the faded paint here indicates that maybe it's time to replace that. Okay, so now there's a little steep hillside. Comes in here down the driveway where we're greeted with this very tidy facility. This is a beautiful place. These trees really make this pretty. So species-wise, we've got hemlocks, western hemlocks for you that aren't around here. There's mostly Doug fir, western red cedar, and big leaf maple. Here's our regulations. I should say that there's no guns, no cigarettes, no alcohol allowed in city parks, and they're pretty clear about that. There is no building, kiosk, office, or other facility here to house volunteers. They do have this QR code here if you're interested in looking up where the grave sites are, but it's not a local one. It's the national PA QR code. So we're coming down the driveway. We can see a southern magnolia, which is one of the very few non-native trees here. There's a grand fir, a couple of those. Here's a dead grand fir. Okay, this is what I call dead. Some people don't call it dead. But you can look at it, you can decide. There you go. That's probably going to be a high priority for our first work party here. I would just love to get this tree out of here. I don't like this tree. Notice it's had its roots cut. This driveway was not redone in the last go-around 5 years ago. However, these roots have been up against this driveway for a long time. We can just do a little walk around. Whenever I condemn a tree, I like to do a 360-degree exam. I know the saluting branches people are arborists, so you can appreciate the kind of lopsidedness of this tree. There's another one right next to it. Let's look at it too. It doesn't have the same foliage problems. It's got a little cavity there. But I think soil is an issue. This is really steep and it's difficult to mow. The mowers have been hitting these exposed roots, and it's pretty shady in here. I would say that the shade from the surrounding part of the park is a key factor in how these trees have grown. So we come on down here to this main entry, and there used to be a gate across here. These two massive stone fence posts basically have hinges in them, and this hasn't been locked this way for a long time. However, it needs to be wide open. This is pretty narrow for vehicles to be making this corner. So then there's some shearing going on. I'm not wild about shearing. You know, I think that this is needing restructuring. So that's typical of contracts with maintenance involved. All right, so now we're going to walk back to the original kiosk, I guess, or basically the outdoor legend on some of these tombstones. Some of them are from 2022 and some of them are from 1936. So I'm not going to zoom in on any of these out of respect for our military, but there's just a wonderful setting for these people to be interred. So now you can see where we first started. We got a little bit of volcano mulching going on here. It looks like the grade was taken down, so that's not all mulch. Here's your flagpole. This is your entry, and not too grandiose, but we're not after grandiose. we're after manageable. So as far as what the saluting branches crews will be doing, I think that we would kind of divide ourselves between the interior trees and the exterior trees. There's maybe less than 500 tombstones in the center, and there's maybe a dozen and a half big trees. So this is probably the main thing here, although that is going to be a multi-year project. I'm so glad that Saluting Branches has decided to take on Fort Lawton Post Cemetery. This is a wonderful contribution to our community. By the way, the park that we're in is the largest city park. I don't know how many acres it is, a couple thousand. And so it's a money pit, basically. And the city really doesn't have the ability to maintain this park. So let's look at a tree or two. These trees are numbered. Wow. I have never seen the tree inventory. However, this happens to be tree number 28. There you go. Incoming call. I'm going to pause.